Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, now this time for the day's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katame tayo dhamma pahatabba tisso tanhati ti. Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, we are proceeding along this particular topic known as tanha or the craving, and here Venerable Maha is presenting it in a threefold way: the kama tanha, bhava tanha and vibhava tanha, the sensuous pleasure, and the craving for the existence, and the craving for nihilism or non-existence. So, and each and every one, with kama tanha we can see pertaining to our how it arises and how it works in our eye, door, ear, nose, tongue, the body and the mind. And each and every one working in a similar pattern. But as I try to explain, the Buddha, to be of course, after long experimenting and presenting himself for this kind of a trial, he found for many, understanding it through the bodily tactile sensation is a good starting point. But it is not the end. So therefore, when and where we are introducing meditation technique in order to get rid of this Dhamma kind of a thing, tanha, we start with body. So once it is familiarized, once you gain the ground, we can say in a positive way, once you gain the momentum of the mindfulness, when and where you get the awareness on the present moment on your body, that's a fair answer, even though it is temporary or it is in momentary, one can test. One can test. So much so, you are, as far as you are aware and mindful in the present moment, with respect to your corporeality, your body, your posture, so much so, you can keep the tanha as such away. That is we call kind of a temporary or momentary kind of thing, but one can experiment under one's nose. So when and where someone is familiarizing that kind of thing, only have a positive hope. One day I can at least weaken the desire or craving or delighting, take delightful effort to the sense pleasure or kind of a lust, we can weaken and give the first confidence with this onset of the development of mindfulness. And related to the amount of mindfulness, the tanha, the craving, reduces. But the particular person who is experimenting, whether he or she verifiably know it or not is a separate issue. You may be practicing mindfulness, you may be successful in mindfulness, you may be successful in reducing the tanha, still you can't perceive at the early part. That is for the disadvantage of the beginner. For that, the devotion must be there, the faith must be there. You must believe. The Buddha is telling after his experimenting, and he says early signs, you can't see, you can't verify, it is not so encouraging, it's painfully slow. So while it is going, there is a period, there is a changeover point whereby you can understand now, due to my so much of restraint, physical, verbal, moral concentration and the wisdom, now there's a pattern in my life. The craving is reducing. So that is very, very important breakthrough for someone to get certain amount of confidence. On the early part of confidence, early part of devotion, early part of saddha is called prasada saddha or unfounded saddha. It is just believe what the Buddha is telling. Imagine the day you are going to verify yourself after long practice, after long trial and error. Now I feel, due to this systematic approach, systematic restraint of the morality, concentration and the wisdom, and now I can feel tanha is reducing, maybe in a sitting meditation, maybe in a walking meditation, maybe in a day-to-day activity. So you are in the interaction with the society, you may understand it. So it's a very important thing. When the saddha come up to that level, we call verifiable saddha. It is called okappana saddha. And that particular person is doing with his own internal evidence and witness. So that's a kind of maturity in our spiritual life. And then only he or she will practice systematically and in the regular manner, because even though it is 100% fulfilled, there's a kind of the urge because of one's own experience, one's own history, one of understanding. So when that happens, you must be ready to make your life more spiritual, more regularly practicing and associating with more and more wise people and listening. That is how these retreats come into being. And not that retreats are not good for the beginners, it's good. But the retreat centers, retreats are for the people, those who have already experienced certain amount of positivity, and they organize their own conducive conditions and keep on practicing. Therefore, the retreats are not to promote moral restraint. Or we can say moral restraint is a prerequisite for the retreat. In the retreat, we do concentration restraint or concentration training. It's called concentration sasana or samatha sasana, samatha sikha. So there you learn how to keep the tanha, even though it is not separated into 3 lobes, for a fairly long time and with the momentum of mindfulness. And there you can see to the amount of mindfulness, or rather duration of mindfulness, so much so you can have a kind of a period. Early part we call tadanga nibbudi, when thought moment of mindfulness, thought moment of the tanha is replaced. And once you comes to know, this is a way, so you have to do, then not only the thought moment, maybe 1 minute, maybe 5 minutes, and continuously you can keep, and you know, before that 5 minutes, defilements. After that 5 minutes, defilements. But in between area, you gain the ground. So that is the part in the samatha meditation is called jhanic experience, or conquering this tanha with the mental factor of one-pointedness. And that was there even the rising of the Buddha. And early traditions, Ajivikas and the Sramanas, they practiced it. They knew. And they went to the forest and they practiced the kind of applying the mind into one particular object, internal or external object, repetitive application, so they can experience a chunk of time, fair amount of time, keep away. And that is very interesting for you to develop the confidence. And when you read the Tipitaka, around 15,000 discourses, many are prescribing and giving example when and where you regularly practicing with devotion and with full respect, you experience a period where kamachanda, the sense desire or the shadow of your sensuous pleasure, sexual pleasure, you can replace it with ekaggata. So that is the hunting part or chasing behind area of the yogis. They always dream, when can I completely or temporarily suppress the kamachanda and dwell upon this ekaggata. So when that happens, we are talking about one of the 5 hindrances. Obsessional kind of defilements, kamachanda. It's a shadow of your kama guna or your worldly sensuous pleasure. So ekaggata is the antidote for the kamachanda. So ekaggata means particularly applying mind into one thing. Kamachanda means applying multivarious things, and mind is roaming just like a monkey mind. To can that monkey restrain so that it can apply again and again to the same object. So that when you read, it feels that human knowledge knew even before the Buddha. But the Buddha is the one appeared to be put it into the grammar and in the systematic way how to develop ekaggata and to how to get rid of kamachanda, and that is called samatha jhana or suppressing kamachanda, not completely eradicating, but it's also quite an achievement. That is why in the meditation world people are so much chasing behind the concentration than mindfulness. Ekaggata is the term for the concentration. Or ekodi bhava, ekaggata, stillness. That is, mind is applying only to one particular object. Kamachanda means multivarious object, from seeing to hearing, hearing to touching, touching to smelling, changing and seeing also not one color, different colors, different shapes. Hearing also not single tone, lot of multivarious kinds, and that is called kamachanda. So therefore, if you look at it from the yogi's point of view, whenever, for example, when you come and sit on your cushion, the mind is completely a monkey mind. And then if you get the basic instruction says the mind can roam to the whole universe, everywhere, or you make it the universe. And instead, if you can make it somewhat limited to this forest, it's an achievement. Instead of the whole world, if you can make it restrained or confined to the forest, it's an achievement. But I am again trying, I don't know whether I'll be successful or not, how can we delight in the forest life? Because forest life is full of difficulties, no much of luxuries, no much of all what we need. So therefore, in order to get rid of the whole world of kamachanda, how can you take delight in the forest life? So, whenever you come to the forest, you find your body is not happy, mind is not happy, food is not up to the mark, and your dwelling place is not up to the mark, that facility is not there, this facility is not there. So complaining throughout. But instead, if you can understand this difficulty indicate, now I am not at home. And this is what I earn. And this difficulty indicate my mind is not confined to, at that moment, to the forest or to the monastery. It is an achievement. That means take these difficulties as a reason to be glad. reason to be delighted. And that is you can't expect from all the yogis. Because they are happy with their luxurious facilities and their body and display of the body as they will. So you won't get that kind of a big open space for a monastic life. So the difficulties you find in the monastic life, if you take it as a reason to be glad or reason to be delighted, so that's a clear indication you can achieve Nibbana in this very life. If you are complaining a whole list telling that we don't have air conditioners, we don't have thermal control and we don't have that luxury, we don't have the dinner, we don't have this, that means definitely you say, you are never renounced, even the body is in the forest, or mentally you are back at home. So you are grumbling, fighting, and they are very clear indication. Now, the same thing the Buddha is taking it a very sharp way to the Ekaggata. Now imagine, now you are delightful, very happy. Bird sounds are there, fresh air there, fresh water. So what a nice, when all the people are meditators, I am also with the precepts, like you make reason to be happy, and while happy, the master or the retreat organizer will say, hey, you can't be throwing party, you got to sit, you have to walk, you have to do this and that in the course of the timetable. So how do you come and sit? Of course, we can apply the same thing to the walking meditation also. And when you are sitting, now your mind is not with the household problems, worldly problems, but with the problems related to the monastery. And while it is there, Master is asking, Buddha is asking, the retreat organizer is asking, can you confine your attention to your body? And the day you can report verifiably, yes, at least 1 minute, or at least 1 second, I was aware only the body. Not the household, not the village, not the world, not the monastery. Mind is to the body. And that is also you understand through an irritation. Your sitting is not comfortable. One part is hot, one part is cool, and tingling sensation. This and that happens, so that very irritation, that very bodily sensation, even though it is unpleasant, indicate now your mind is not with the world, not with the forest or monastery, but with the body. There also I categorically mentioning, specifically mentioning, it appear like irritation. Your bodily sensations. Bodily sensations all the ways not pleasurable. So even if it is unpleasure, if you can make sure, what a nice thing, my mind is not now at home. It is not roaming around the forest or the monastery. Now it is confined to the body. Even if it is irritable, even if it is not comfortable, if you can make a point or make a reason to be glad, even though it is irritation and tingling and stiffness and tension and movements, now I am sure I am in the body, and the day you can report it happily, you can consider this as a positive sign. The day you can understand this is an achievement, the day you can appreciate it is the reducing of tanha, that day you are reconfirming you can be, in this very life you can have something. You are progressing. Now, within the body, you see, while you observe in the here and there everything, sometimes as and when the body become calm, you can see the active part of your living is happening in only the upper part of the body. Expansion, contraction, in-breath, out-breath, rising, falling. So if you can forget about the lower part of the body, as and when it is possible, now you see body also only you are concerned with the upper part of the body. You keep it erect. And the moment you forget the lower part also and come to the upper part and say, now I don't know the whole body, but within the body I see upper part, and there I find contraction, expansion, rising and falling. In-breath and out-breath. That indicates now your lower part also out of the question. Just like the village problem, just like the forest problem, just like the body part also you have given. Now there is a friction, now there is a sensation, now there is the irritation only in the upper part of the body. Maybe irritation sometimes may be a good sign, whatever may be, now you have your ekaggata come to the upper part of the body. And there also, if you sharp look, now whenever the mind becomes focused only at the tip of your nose, you are not concerned about others. Their attention is one-pointed. Whole world, give up the whole world, take refuge of the forest, monastery, and give up the forest, take refuge of the body, and give up the body, take refuge of the upper part, and give up the upper part also, and take refuge of the in-breath and out-breath, maybe top of your upper lip or end of the nostril, and you can verifiably you can say, now mind is one-pointed. And as far as you are one-pointedness, the one-point related frustration is there. That point-related friction is there. Tension is there, but you are free from the whole world full of frustration, world full of tension, world full of friction, and monastic full of friction, body full of friction. Now you know your friction, your frustration, your tension is pertaining to one single point. And that is also like a bee coming and hitting. It is so sharp, uncomfortable, but now you reduce the tanha, or at least the friction out of tanha, or the infliction of tanha, reduce to one particular point. And that is how it is coming and converging into one particular point. And when and where happens, if you can appreciate it, if you can be glad about that, if you can take delight of it, easily one can say this is not due to your practice here. You would have bought that capacity, bought that appreciation quality from the past life. Very difficult to have that kind of restraint within a life. But lucky thing is, most of us would have practiced earlier. When and where get the instructions coming, when and where you get the interview getting cleared, you get cleared, and you find that day by day you are learning, you are giving up a big lump of frustration by taking refuge of a little lump. And that also you give up with taking a small, still little one. Ultimately, big one is replacing the little, and little is replacing still little, and that is the game. So therefore, whatever you experience is nothing to complain. It's a clear indication you are going from big to the small, small to the smallest. And definitely, I am sure, each and every one of you would have gone into that. It is not such a rare experience. But even the tiny little irritation happens, you are too much exaggerating and too much complaining and too much fussy. Simply fussy. Because the discussion and your interviews have not been much of efficient. So you have to day by day understand, this is anubhava sikha, anubhava kiriya, anubhava patipa. It's a gradual way. Moment you go out of these one pointers, again your mind can go back to the whole universe full of frustration. And again then you have to say, okay. Instead of the whole universe of frustration, may I come to the forest full of frustration. And after that, come into that, you have to compromise, okay. Instead of the whole forest or monastery full of frustration, can I limit it to my body full of frustration? And once that comes there, you have to compromise, okay, now fairly I am advancing. Can I make it to only the upper part, only the breath, only the touching point? Likewise, that reducing, don't do it abrupt way. Gradually it must come. So, one point, whatever may breath or rising and falling of the abdomen, or when you are walking, the touch of the leg, and that is your refuge. That is your pivotal point. You don't let the mind roam around, no problem. But when and where possible, bring it to that. If it's possible, bring to the whole body. And then reduce to that your point. And when it is happening, the large array, large varietal entertainment always keep mindful alert. It's very, very vigilant. But when and where ekaggata happen, the slimy nature, the sleepy nature, the boredom can set in. That is not you. That is the monkey mind. So how to overcome in order to get rid of kamachanda? We have to come to the ekaggata, that means one point. Kamachanda means sense desire. And then you have to take the ekaggata. To come to the ekaggata, more and more, or when you are progressing, proportionately sleepiness happens. Proportionately distasteful, disgustful, boredom, monotony happens. It's a contagious disease in meditation centers. Whatever the meditation, whatever the meditator, whatever the place you see, people are very lethargic. They find that always sleepy. That's a very good sign you're progressing. But you complain is telling, I can't sleep, I can't meditate because of that and this, and because you are not monitoring. So if you understand, kamachanda is keep you alert. Kamachanda keep you full vigilant and diligent. But when and where ekaggata happens, the when and where kama or tanna is reducing, colorfulness reduces, become pale. The discrimination reduces and less eventful. And when you are again and again applying, mind naturally do not happy. It is not happy because it's monotonous. And the day you understand, it is as a good sign, a sign of progress, that you can make use the vitakka, the applying mind, or repetitively noting mind, in order to not let the mind to be lethargic, not let mind to be sleepy and sloth and over. Noting is the antidote for the thina middha or sloth and over. So use the noting as much as possible in order to keep the mind up, in order to keep the energy up. It is the calling the object by name, labeling. That means you are noting in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Or in the walking, it's no much of a thina middha is happening, but some people even didn't complain. They say, whenever I am meditating, my body start to sway, and I have no control, it is like sleepy, even in walking. If that happens, keep note, left leg, left, right. And it's still, if the sleepiness happens, notice as left, as far as left leg is moving. Right, as far as the right leg is moving. So if you are in the sitting and if you are doing the breath meditation, and if you feel sleepy, you have to understand, in breath you note it as in. Out as out. That is, number of notings per one event is to energize you, to mobilize you, the energy, and then you can see the temporarily you can do away with thina middha. But if you continue to do throughout noting, ekaggata will be disturbed. So when and where its utility value gone, you must drop your noting and let the concentration, let the ekaggata to grow. So this is a very crucial area, when to note and when to not to note. I'll put it in another way. Now you will take the example of the same example of sitting and doing sitting and doing breath meditation, in-breath and out-breath. While you are in the in-breath and out-breath, you hear a sound. Now, two objects. Primary objects, in-breath and out-breath, sound happens. So, if you are perplexed, if you are not sure, bewildered, what to note and what not to note, the guidance is, if as far as in-breath and out-breath is prominent, don't note the sounds. Because noting sound means giving the prominence to the sound and breath will be disappeared. So as far as it is not threatening you, as far as it is not overpowering you, know it, but keep on noting with the in-breath and out-breath. When and where sound become overpower your breath, then you shifting the noting from breath through the sound. Pain also the same. Thought also the same. So therefore, whatever arising, do not try to note it, because noting means highlighting them. Noting means promoting them. Noting this, inviting them. Don't invite as far as it is there. Only do it. Only do not if it is a threat, if it is overpowering a primary object. And primary object also, you can keep in view with, keep in face-to-face with noting, and after a while you may understand, even without noting you can keep it in view with, face-to-face with. Under such circumstances, do you experiment, let be face-to-face with the object without noting. So, for example, when we are in the evening, when we are chanting, we have about 14 suttas, day by day we are changing. If today we are starting with one thing, tomorrow is another thing. So we are being novices, we are daily take the book, and we have to have the written form of scriptures in order to chant it. But after a while, you become by heart, and without the book you can chant. Here and there you forget, but others are chanting. So what you can do is keep the book but don't look at it and keep on chanting. After a while you can see they are chanting, I can easily go together without using the book. So later, slowly you start chanting without using the book. So likewise, you must understand how far you must use the scripture, how far you can go without that. So likewise, the noting or labeling must be used at the beginning, early part of your sitting, and then when and where you find the momentum is there, you can do away noting, and there the mind becomes fairly agile, mind becomes fairly mobilized, and when that happens, more chances for you to be with the primary object, familiarity increases, and two ways it can promote gladness. One thing is, you start to feel some kind of a lightness or light. Sometimes you feel that you can predictably, I can be with the breath now for another 10, 20 cycles. So kind of a confidence arises. And that is called kind of a inclination to the concentration. Or, there's another facet. You can see breath ceases to exist. Slowly, breath is reducing. So if the light arises, or if you develop the concentration, that indicate you are a samatha inclined person, samatha nimittuppatthane ekattang. Your one-pointedness happen because of the concentration happen to the object, and as a sign, light may arise, or happiness may arise, or mindfulness may be increasing, concentration may be setting. There also take them as signs, but don't lose the sight of the primary object. The moment you are going to take the light of the light, then you are again missing the bus. But take it as a good omen, but keep on with the primary object. And the Vipassana yogis or people, those who have inclination to the Vipassana or insight, they see the breath is not the same ever. It is slowly reducing. That is also magnetizing thing. If you know, that will be magnetizing only to the learned people, only to the well-instructed people, only to the people prepared. And by Lakkhana-anupattana kattang, everything ceases to exist. The grossness of the breath reduces and becoming medium type. And you see, even without nodding, it is happening. So, when you listen to these interview reports, when the breath becomes subtle, some people get excited. Some people think it is a reduction of your mindfulness or concentration, instead of it as a sign of progress. That is why these talks, that's why these interviews. One has to just tell more and more when your noting mind is working, more and more you familiarize with your primary object. What happens? Do you feel light and light perception and kind of a magnetizing thing, or you feel the characteristic impermanent notion, changing nature of the primary object that no one can predict? Even the same person in 2 sittings can have the change. So the listener must be carefully listening. It's a very rare occasion only you can have the one single object consecutively in a time series observation. And the observer must be true to type, report what is the conducive factor. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel with light? Do you feel lightness? And is it promoting you to be with the object more and more? Or you feel the evolution of the object, gross to the subtle, subtle to the subtlest, like what are the characteristics of the object? Let me explain little bit for your theoretical understanding. Imagine you are taking an object which is not experienceable. Something like the virtues of the Buddha. Something like the compassion to the other people or loving kindness. There you can't see the evolution of the object. They are called utterly samatha object. They can't do vipassana. Vipassana can be only one thing you can experience, only one thing verify. The breath is purely you can experience. And it can do samatha also. So therefore, anapanasati, in that sense, unique. It's the only object the Buddha prescribed can cater for samatha and vipassana. Concentration as another wisdom or insight. So therefore, even then if you are, which part mind is taking, it is not your control. It is a kind of your character trait, your predestined thing. And you have to carefully understand when and where mind is, noting mind is face to face with the primary object for a fair amount of cycles or fair amount of time, you must see how the mind keep the relationship because of the comfortable feeling, light and lightness, or see the chronological changes of the primary object, close to the subtle, subtlest. And that indicate where to be promoted. Both of them going to give kind of a rapture. Because now your mind and the object is vibrating in the same order, same vibration. So therefore there's nothing to worry now. They are not running away like a monkey mind. There are no much of thinking happens. There is no much of sound distraction, no much of pain distraction. Instead you see conducive conditions, promoting part. And that is the point where kind of a rapture can happen. And that is the rapture, that is the antidote for your everlasting, always present hatred. Otherwise you are utterly hateful whether you like it or not. Our life is I would put it this way, whether you like it or not, or whether you accept it or not. Knowledge means hate. We are not happy present, that is why we search knowledge. If you are happy here, you will not search knowledge. So therefore, present day knowledge is coming out of unsatisfactoriness. Unsatisfactoriness is leading to hate. So therefore, whole knowledge, what is called worldly knowledge, that is why the God created the Adam and Eva and told, don't eat bloody fruit. That's the knowledge. Moment you eat it, you are deprived of your paradise. So our knowledge is the one make us deprived. Our innocence gone, simplicity gone. So in mindfulness, you just mechanically apply the mind. No knowledge, no formulas. Just be the baby-like, or child-like, or beginner-like. That is the difficult part. So much the knowledge you develop, so much you are hateful. If you wish to see the biggest hate, go to a university. They are the places growing hate. If you wish to see hate, go to media section. Cutthroatism. Everywhere where the knowledge is high, cutthroatism. So we are fairly advanced in that sense because we are knowledgeable people. We know. And that very knowledge is the one creating so much of suffering. So when you become a beginner's mind, when you are ready to understand, bloody knowledge is the one deprive we from our paradise, the moment you go back to the mindfulness, moment you understand simple repetitive application of the mind, you are back in the paradise. The God will come and tell you, oh darling, how are you? You are the only person never eat the fruit of the knowledge. The Apple computers, you see the eaten apple, half-eaten apple, that is the place. And it is been instructed by the serpent. And it is also started by a woman. Eva is the first eat and then give it to the Adam. If the story is correct. So female are so intelligent, knowledge. And the Buddha never tell directly, but Thomas Merton, he was a Trappist monk, and after learning the Zen Buddhism, and he has practiced ardently, without knowing, and then in the dialogue with this, I think Eric Fromm or something like that, he understands, moment you lose your knowledge, you are back in the paradise. Moment you go to the knowledge, hatred, discrimination, sectarianism, and so much of problem. So don't lose it, keep it, because we have in my life from the age 6 to maybe 36, ever learning. So therefore you can't throw away, but each and each moment mindful, you are naturally throwing them away. Knowledge is no use of the knowledge. Mindfulness means you are simply become a mechanically applying the mind. And imagine the moment the mindfulness going to catch the momentum, and you see, you can keep this simple object face to face, the rapture rises. Whenever you try to comprehend it, rapture goes, mindfulness goes, object gone. Yena hi manyanti tato tang hoti anyata. Whatever the thinking, whatever the comprehending happens, that will become otherwise. The growing will be completely toppled. So therefore you have to be very simple. You are earning, definitely you are already earning it. But how to preserve it? How to continue it? Don't apply knowledge. Just simply be mindful. Or if necessary, note it. And if it is not necessary, leave it aside. Be mindful, and the rapture rises, and there you find that as far as the rapture is there, that hate cannot. And I would say, this is the first and foremost metta bhavana. This is the loving kindness. This is the first time you feel what a bliss to be a human. What a bliss to be mindful. What a bliss to keep the mind in one particular single object. It is not lustful. It is not delightful. It is not a craving. But for the spiritual development. So you take a neutral object. You take the breath. You take the rising and falling. You take the left leg and right. It is boring. Naturally. It's monotonous. Naturally. Sleepy. Naturally. And we develop gladness and the rapture. Apply again and again. Then you can understand, as far as mind is not in the past and the future, as far as in the presence, you feel kind of a happiness. It is called, Ajahn Brahm used to say, beautiful breathing. Breath become beautiful. Breath being everything. Breath means air. Just air. That movement brings everything. In Sinhala we can say, asvasaya, aswadaya. The taking inside breath, fully aware, and see whole energy inflow. And prasvasa, the out-breath, you see everything. You feel kind of the Buddha used, santocheva panitocha sukocha viharocha. It's very calm and very delightful. Breath make everything. Santocha means sukocha viharocha. Your body so comfortable. And the breathing happen in a very harmonious way, smooth way, and that is the sukha. And you don't find that kind of inalienable, unalloyed kind of a sukha in this materialism, in this materialistic pleasure. Because this is not depending on something. This is depending on your repetitive application. And the moment you understand, the rapture is going to give this kind of a comfort, this kind of a the sukha or pleasure, you find that when and where you are in search of knowledge and in search of luxuries and in search of the materiality, you are losing it, you are going against it. But look at the world. Everyone, every time, never happy when the mind is inside. They are always monkey mind. Promoting monkey mind, suffering due to monkey mind. But whatever the amount of mistakes you have done so far, no problem, everything will be excused moment you apply mindfulness. All can be compensated. Of course it can go disarray, again it can come in. So when and where it is happening, you see, if the past and the future, no happiness. Past is always a regret. Even for the Buddha. Even for the Buddha. But he can see unenlightened life. But future is utterly excitement, burning the candle from both the ends. No happiness. So in the middle, when the mind is here and now, no uddacha, no kukkucha. Uddacha means chasing the planning and fantasizing and daydreaming about the future. Kukkucha means regret about the past. And you can see you are tightrope walking, not falling to this side or that side. Or just like you are on one railway line, you are trying to balance and walk. Not falling this way and that way. There's a kind of a sukha, pleasure happening. And then the moment you understand this kind of alignment, whenever it is happening, it is not that you don't have these qualities. It's a matter of balance. It's a matter of synchronizing. It's a matter of harmonizing, and whenever you find, whenever mind is not harmonized or synchronized, you are utterly critical. You are no more devoted. You find fault with others. You find fault with the season. You find fault with the food. You find fault with this and that. But whenever you see, there is no such the perplexity, because mind understands the peace is inside. Not the omnipotent, omnipresent God. Not the luxury. But inside. And I read, I don't know how much authentically I can say or not. I studied the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. She has been very closely associating with the Jesus. And she says, in her Gospel, peace is within. Not the God, not the Godfather. Peace is within. And just go on, disappeared very quickly. But recently there were some rare scriptures they found, and she says peace is within. So that means no belief on the God. God may be helpful for us to tell, if at all, be here and now. So the day, at least if you are not listening to me, please listen to Mary Magdalene. And she will let you know, this is the place you are searching omnipotent, omnipresent God up in the mount, up in the heaven. Oh, may He come and decide and give. Oh, may the president of the government will give this and that. Oh, may the Santa Claus will come and fill your bag. That is what we need. But whenever the vitaka, the perplexity goes, you see, the inquiring mind or kind of a knowledge, it says it is within. So when that can happen, it's a kind of fair indication your tanna is done with, temporarily, for that period. So when it is happening, the commentators, they say, your energy aspect and the concentration aspect come in par. They are balancing each other. Your faith and the wisdom will come in par with balance. So that means tatra jatanam dhammanam anativattanattena sampansanam. The energy will never go up killing the concentration. Or concentration will not go up killing the energy and fall in sleep. Or faith will go up and your wisdom will be reduced. Or wisdom will go up and you will undermine, look down the faith. No, they come into the balancing. And mindfulness in center, look, energy, and energy means the virya, and the concentration is balance. And the faith and the wisdom is balance. And the indriyana ekarasattena, everything is now the faith, the energy, the mindfulness, the concentration, the wisdom, everything has a one only single object. They are not diversified. They are not in a disharmony. And when it happens, you are the first person to experience. Not your teacher, not the Buddha. You are the first person to experience it. And more and more it goes. The moment you learn this art, moment you learn this harmony, it demands less and less energy. At the beginning it is demanding, it is very, very expensive in energy-wise. But when the harmony sets in, you feel it's effortless. Things are happening, that's a point you can say, you can put into the autopiloting mode. Let the meditation goes, but you are very vigilant, very diligent. That means you are let it happen repetitively again and again. See, it's a matter of balancing, it's a matter of harmonizing things. Things are there. If we individuals wise concerned, we are equally endowed with the potential. Or possibility wise, we are equally endowed with. But the thing is, they are fighting each other due to the split mind. Something like the ions in the iron rod. Instead, if in the magnet rod, everything is disciplined, everyone is facing to the north, and that magnet is different from the iron. And if you apply a magnet upon an iron rod again and again in a systematic way, the iron becomes magnetized. And if you shake that iron, just magnetize again, it goes back to the fate of the iron. If you heat it, it will lose its magnetic power. So therefore, once it is magnetized, you have to keep it in the same place, apply again and again. When you are applying again and again, when and where the iron become a magnet, the magnet is always turning to the north. It is natural. You have nothing to train. So hang it with the center of gravity and you can see it is going to the north. But the iron is not so. So likewise, once you come up to that kind of getting rid of tanha, you are naturally turning to the truth, simplicity, turning to the honest, and turning to the childlike mentality. You are not searching outside, you know everything is here. And that everything is here kind of happiness, only you can experience when the mind scattered. Because they are reciprocal. The one-pointed mind never understands one-pointed mind. It understands when the mind becomes scattered. The scattered mind never understands when it is scattered, because they are not mindful. When you once in a way, when you experience ekaggata, you find ekaggata and scattered mind, they are reciprocal each other. So therefore, even though you earn it, even though it is hard earned, again it will break off. And that is not a permanent damage. Again you can start, again you can feel disperse. And that is why, when and where the ekaggata is present, you have done away with tanha. But there is no assurance. Again it can scatter. Again you can come to the ekaggata, and again the tanha happens. So that understanding this tanha after the ekaggata is a completely different story. I am repeating, once you go on into the ekaggata, that means kind of a concentration, and again the tanha happens. But that reappearing tanha is completely different, because that you once at least in your life, you have seen a time sketch without tanha. And then again tanha happens, or craving happens, or the delight happens. So when it happens, the Buddha says, the when and where tanha is not there, you know my mind is lack of tanha, no tanha. And when it's arising, just like the breath, you can see arising tanha, and you can see pervading tanha, existing tanha, and then reducing tanha. And one before the last, in our discussion among the monks, and one monk told, Bhante, there is a Sandittika Sutta. In Sandittika Sutta, the Buddha says, when your mind is full of tanha, full of craving, if you know my mind is full of craving, it is the truth of the Dhamma. It is a Sandittika, Eka, Opanayika, Eipasika. When the tanha is present, you know tanha. Just like when you know, when the breath is present, you know the breath. It is not a filthy. It is not a defilement, because you know. So likewise the tanha become a pet, tanha become a toy, tanha become a playthings. Not that tanha is not overwhelming, sometimes can overwhelm, but you know, if you systematically approach, you can go to the ekaggata and you do away temporarily. And again tanha happens, it is not your fault. And when it is happening, you know, this is the rising, this is the prevailing, that's a cessation. It's a great knowledge. That is the truth of Dhamma. This is the law of the principle. Or universal law. So therefore you can understand clearly, without shame, Now mind is with lust. My mind is with the craving. Oh, my mind is with hate. Oh, my mind is sleepiness. My mind is perplexity. So these things, and that is the point where you go deep into the Vibhava Tanha, understanding and labeling them as and when it arises. As and when it arises. So unless otherwise you come up to the high level of mindfulness, whenever the desire arises, you feel depressed. You feel ashamed. You feel it is something not done. As if you have done. No, it is something happening. So likewise, when it's happening, you can see the craving itself. Better you know mind is with craving than not knowing. Because knowledge is the most powerful thing. That knowledge means not the physics, chemistry, but I am telling the very knowing, I am now with Tanha. That is not the knowledge, that is understanding, that is direct experience, as well as the hate. So you will, of course, develop kind of phobia and difficulties when the hate arises and the desire arises. But you can experiment it little with just like a toy. There are the 5 things happening. As and when it happens, keep a note or bookkeeping. And then only you can understand what the character type. Who am I? And where it is leading. Because you know the art now, occasionally you can go to the Ekaggata. With that weapon, now it's going to the Vipassana side. Ekaggata can happen due to the Samatha Nimittu Upatthana, the sign of concentration. Or you can, same thing can happen if you can see the cessation of the object. Whatever may be, Ekaggata can happen. But once you earned it, don't expect it is everlasting. Again, it will be toppled. Again, the one or the other obsessional defilement can happen. When it happens, understand, knowing, red-handed, now I am with hate, now I am with desire, now I am with sleepiness, now I am with sloth and torpor, sleepiness, or regretting about the past and the future, or perplexed mind. So that very knowledge is the first and foremost sign you are sympathizing yourself. You are sympathizing your stream of consciousness. Till that you were evading and escapism. Because of your moralist thinking. That is a kind of a volitional perversion. Volitional perversion. You always think critical about you. Very, very no kind of a sympathy. Very critical. And meditators are the worst lot. The people behind sex or people behind drugs and people behind alcohol, they are very, very easy to associate. Yogis never give any kind of a sympathy because they are short-tempered. You laugh the day you become a nun, you also will be the same. All the nuns are like that. All the monks are like that. They never sympathize, they are even a little peck of defilement. So therefore it says, till you become a precept holder, till you become a mendicant, your main bondage with the desire. Soon you become a mendicant, main bondage with hatred. Clearly indicated in the Dhammasangani. For the meditators, among the venerables and the ordained people, utterly in hate. So don't get discouraged by telling that I am telling something I am quoting from the Dhammasangani. So in the worldly people, they are desire, they say they want to have that pleasure, this pleasure, so they are chasing behind that. But soon you become the renounced person, or mendicant, or assume precepts. Your main thing is not the desire, because you are done away fairly. but the hate. So before my ordination, 10 years, my close friends conditioned me. If you are going to be a monk, be careful. Self-hate. It's a common disease. And take it as a hobby. So I before becoming a monk, I was so considered again and again and again. And I know the monks and others are short-tempered, very difficult to tackle. I have done it as a layperson. And now I am going to be a monk. And how can I? And all the others told that love your body, love the present moment, and think that you are in the Buddha's dispensation. You are a human. You can be here and now, the Kshana Sampatti, and that's it. Don't find fault with others. Don't demand anything. Don't reject anything. Accept it. Only I find a parallel kind of instruction find in scouting. And the Girl Guides. This is be prepared and do one or the other the random action of kindness to someone. Don't discriminate. And be careful about the physical, verbal and verb deeds. It is like a suttas, the forbidden power. Be vigilant. And he is the only person talking, except the Buddha, about fit into the present setup. Don't demand. Just fit. You can. You never look at the world with the hate way. You never, because you understand it is your appropriate technology to fit into the situation rather than adjusting the situation. Just like water, when you pour into the vessel, it must take the shape of the vessel. So meditator's mind must be water-like. And the topmost layer is very flat. And always go to the most bottom, to the depth. No one can replace it. Whenever you do not know that art, you are so adamant. No one can help because you are self-hate. The moment you understand the be here and now, and that is inalienable, unalloyed kind of a pleasure, that's simply we can call the contentment. That's the only thing you can say, be happy. That only that thought moment, never outside that. But still we are going there and coming back, going there and coming back. When you come back only understand, as far as you are mindful, you are content. But you don't know at that time, maybe. But when you come to the discontent, you can see, whenever mindfulness, there is a kind of appeasement, there's a kind of a contentment, and you feel like going and living with the people, those who are mindful. And you see, even the animals get the attraction. Even the trees get the attraction. Mind your own business, be mindful. Everything is okay. But still, as far as the tanha is concerned, this is not the total eradication of tanha, the kind of weakening of tanha. That's a temporarily suppressing the tanha, and you take this overcoming 5 hindrances or obsessional kind of defilements possible. And even possible as a housewife. Even possible as a multitasker. I have done it. In my life, the whole 6 years, I was running a full company and still one thing at a time, and that done well. And during that time only I learned English. I learned labor management. I learned research and development. I learned the foreign correspondence. But slowly going. My background is not so, it is not giving even I did my postgraduate degrees, never they taught that kind of an art. But 6 years, doing all the kind of thing, but always try to be alert about what is happening. And simply, maybe I am praising myself, I never curse myself. I know I do bloody idiot things. Even others come and say, it is not done. I say, can't help it, it happened. Yes. Please share with me what to do. You people are hiding. So sorry. So it is becoming repercussions and ultimately becoming cancerous and becoming inside burning because you never experienced, you never appreciate this peaceful mind even for a split second. It's a universal answer. Your main thing must be multiply it, maximize it. And when you are maximizing, one day only you will understand the corresponding way the tanha is reducing. So it takes long time. That is why the sasana, the message is not spreading, because even the beginners to verify how much tanha is reducing by a thought moment of mindfulness, very difficult to show. Specifically in the vipassana, so Pandita Sahib used to say, it is something like eating the white bread. No jam, no cheese, no sandwich. If possible, eat. Even if impossible, eat. What to do? Or like a bone, worn out, no marrow bone, no blood, no flesh. Still you, just like you keep on eating the simple mindfulness. And how long will it take for someone to verify this is a path, it's a completely electric. It's a completely impromptu. So once you earn, that is your own earning. It is not a borrowing. It's not a second hand. It's not a reconditioned one. It's original. So therefore, the day you understand it, you become qualified in meditation to go beyond. And when and where you understand now my mind is even temporarily without defilements, the see-through happens. Or adhimokha happens, you know. So far my main blockage was this obsessional defilements, and once obsessional going, you see still defilements are there, but it is called the tendencies, and you are fully armed. So therefore it is a kind of a cataract operation. Before the cataract you think 2-3 images. When the cataract is gone, you have the clear sight. So therefore the Buddha is known as Sallakya, the eye surgeon. Buddha is known as eye surgeon. He's removed the cataract and let the person to see. The other person is, he think everything is blur and everything is upset because of his cataract. So obsession and defilement is like cataract. Once removed, you see why the other people are blind like, because they are see through this cataract. But the medicine is there. The surgeon is there. So therefore, when you are practicing the mindfulness, even though it appear not directly related to the tanha, more and more you put up, develop the momentum of the mindfulness, the tanha reducing. But I try to explain is the where you are going to verify that. It's very intrinsic. It is very hilarious, very electric. So I would like to sum up the talk today with this remark. Hope you will be mindful more and more vigilantly and more diligently, so that it will be a hobby-like thing rather than regimental. Thank you very much for listening.